Hey everybody, welcome to Life is Beautiful. I'm Anthony, and today we're going to be doing an episode of This Week in Beer. Some of you might have noticed that there wasn't a This Week in Beer last week, and that's because unless there's enough news stories to actually talk about that are important enough to talk about, I'm just not going to make an episode because, I don't want to waste your time, don't want to waste my time. But what I did do is I took some of the interesting stories last week that did happen, just not enough to make a full episode, and some of the news episodes this week, because this week was also a slow news week, and combine them together because I still think that they're interesting enough to talk about and should be talked about. In the UK, Brewdog is currently working with the UK government to be able to turn their closed brewing facilities, tap rooms, and bars and pubs into vaccination sites. A lot of these locations are currently not being utilized because of COVID-19 and because of the shutdown, and a lot of their staff are being put out of work and waiting for things to lift up. What this would do is, working with the UK government, they would be able to put their staff back to work. They would be able to spread out vaccinations much quicker, much faster, because there would be much more accessible locations, especially in some of these Brewdog facilities, which are huge. And most importantly, it would maintain the integrity of the vaccine. I'm sure some of y'all know that the vaccine for COVID-19 has to be in cold storage, and their brewing facilities have massive cold rooms to keep kegs and lagering and all this other stuff, keep their produce and hops fresh and everything like that. So it just makes sense. It's a win-win for everybody. Not only is it helping the local community, not only is it helping combat COVID, but it's helping people get back to work, all of which I think is applaud worthy. And I don't often have a whole lot of good things to say about Brewdog because I don't like a lot of their weird statements they make sometimes, but this one for sure, kudos guys, good job. I hope it pans out and I hope it works for you. And lastly, the most important news story in my opinion, there has been a massive shift in power in Asia as far as beer marketing and producing and selling goes. AB InBev, the biggest brewing producer in the world, multi-continental conglomerate brewing powerhouse, owns hundreds of individual beer brands across the globe. They have purchased one of the biggest, most prolific breweries in Vietnam, and that is the Saigon Beer Alcohol Beverage Corp. There was no way I was going to be able to remember that on my own. Now, I'm just going to call them this Saigon Beer Corporation from here on out because it's easier to remember. But this is actually one of the reasons why I'm glad there wasn't a This Week in Beer last week, because the Saigon Beer Corporation goes by SAB, S-A-B. That's how they're known for their equity trading and their stocks and everything like that. So when all the news articles were coming out saying AB InBev purchased Vietnamese SAB, I was super confused because SAB could also mean South African Brewers, who merged with SAB Miller some time ago and who was purchased by AB InBev even longer ago. So all around, it was very confusing. I had to do some additional investigative digging to be able to figure all that out. SAB Vietnam is one of the biggest brewing industries in one of the hottest growing markets in the world. Vietnam has consistently put up double-digit growth every year for the past 10 years, making Vietnam one of the most hotspot, profitable, and desirable locations in the world of beer. And AB InBev, who is already the biggest brewing powerhouse on the planet, buying them out in the hottest market greatly solidifies their overwhelming global dominance of the beer market. And that's important for a wide range of reasons, but I've chosen a few to talk about specifically. We know that historically, AB InBev owned companies have used kind of underhanded tactics to be able to keep other industry leaders suppressed, and they have to fight an uphill battle against this giant brewing monolith. It could stifle potential growth, not only from other breweries who are trying to move into the market, including some, potentially bigger craft breweries who are trying to expand their global footprint, kind of like how we saw in China a few years back. AB InBev, being such a significant player in the region, could greatly hinder that process. Additionally, we could see local homegrown Vietnamese craft brewers start facing the same kind of battle that we see happening in Europe and in the United States against unfair marketing practices. This move also greatly shifts the power dynamic throughout all of Asia, which as a whole has been a great hotspot for international industries to try to ride their seismic tidal wave of growth economically in almost every industry and sector. And with AB InBev having this solid, well-established footprint in the region already, it's going to shift the entire dynamic throughout Asia, because they already had a couple of factories there who were producing some of their European and American brands for Japan and the rest of Asia, and especially Southeast Asia. But with this massive footprint by incorporating Sav Vietnam, I mean, it shifts the entire power dynamic of the entire region. It's going to be so much harder for other breweries to be able to squeeze in. And I honestly don't know how much of that growth, double digit, that we're seeing, that they're going to be able to encapsulate and corner for themselves, but it's definitely going to put a tighter squeeze, because there's no way they're going to let that huge money-making power horse slip through their fingers without capitalizing on it and squeezing it for every single cent it's worth. So all in all, I think Vietnam in particular, but the entirety of Asia, is going to be an interesting place for people who are interested in beer industry and global market moves. It's going to be a wild ride over 2021 and over the next coming years as AB InBev solidifies itself as that king of the region. So definitely something for us to keep our eyes on. Anyways, like I said, real quick, nitty gritty, this week in beer. Nothing too crazy, nothing too hard hitting. And if you don't see a This Week in Beer happening in any particular week, it's just because there was nothing really that exciting happening this week. But with that being said, if I missed anything over these past 2 weeks, send it my way. Let me know. I'll definitely make sure to give it a cover. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. Thank you for all the overwhelming, amazing support I've seen lately. It's been absolutely just totally cool for me. I'm so happy. So anyways, thank you very much for watching, everybody. Like, comment, subscribe. Remember, there's a story in every bottle, and that life is beautiful. Cheers, y'all.